I'd like to welcome everybody back to our special Christmas edition of the Soulful Shack. My name is Joe Quammie. You listen to 97.5 CIOE-FM, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Back on Saturday, October 19th of this year, CIOE held a concert at the Spatz Theatre in Halifax. The event was entitled The Evening of Praise, a celebration of East Coast gospel. Opening that program was a choir that I had nothing heard or seen before. They were called the Thrive Children's Choir. And tonight we're honored to have the director of that choir, Wendy Birt, the musical director, is here with us in the studio. So we want to extend a warm welcome to Wendy. Thank you. And we appreciate you taking time to come in and spend with us at this busy time of the year.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. I look forward to chatting.
And on behalf of the folks here at CIOE, we certainly want to send along a Merry Christmas to you and yours.
And you as well.
Well, doing the research for on the choir, I heard one of the parents saying on the interviews, said that we dare for you to come to listen to this choir and not smile. And or it was words to that effect. And for me, my first experience hearing the choir brought more than a smile. I thought it was pretty amazing. So we're going to hear some of the music or clips of some of the music coming up later on in this segment of the show. But I thought to begin with, we're going to spend some time with Wendy, and perhaps you could give us a history on the choir, a little bit of history on yourself, some background history about your involvement in the choir, how it got started, and how you got started involved.
Oh, that's a big one. So I'll start by saying I am a teacher by training.
Okay.
So even prior to becoming a teacher, actually, maybe I'll start back there, I directed a few small girls' chorales, one at my church, one in the Spryfield area of Halifax.
And a chorale?
A small choir.
Okay.
So I don't know the official definition, but I would say probably, under 12 voices kind of a thing.
Right,
it's small enough that you couldn't call it a choir.
Right.
And that whole endeavor of working with children's chorale groups took me back to my dream of being a teacher. At the time, I was working in public relations for the Salvation Army and working with the kids' choirs on the side. But I really wanted to focus my life and my passion and my career on children. And so I went back, got my teaching degree, and I taught in the public schools for half a year very brief period of time before I formed Thrive Education. And Thrive offers a great deal of programming of different sorts. I call it personal enrichment for young people. And we've done everything over the last 6 years. We've done everything from our programs that include unique field trips all over the province, one-on-one mentorship, to encourage the best out of our kids, unique guest speakers, public speaking training, all of the above.
Okay.
And the choir was just birthed, getting back to your original question, this particular choir was just birthed in April of this year. We're only about 6 months young. And this choir is definitely the biggest musical endeavor I've ever done as a teacher and leader of youth. And the whole idea is to train our kids to become what I call leaders of encouragement in the community. So using their God-given singing talent, not just to develop their music, but that too, but also to develop their self-confidence, but also their confidence as leaders of encouragement and leaders of inspiration for others in the community.
Well, I had I had listened to some clips of an interview of a few of the students. Maybe we'll get those on later on. And I heard some of their feedback, and they sound really positive, and it sounds like an experience that everybody's all in on. It sounds like the children are definitely all in on it.
Absolutely. And the kids and the parents alike. And one of the things that I feel, of course, we're all biased to our own initiatives, of course, but one of the things I feel is special and unique about our choir is it is not just about the mechanics of singing. It's not just about bringing a cute group of kids together that can sing and forming a choir. It's a very unique culture. So the whole philosophy of Thrive beyond just the choir it seeps down through. So we know each of our kids and their families really well. Exactly. I know the parents' names. I know the grandparents' names. We have that mentorship piece that I spoke of earlier that was part of the broader Thrive experience is so much a part of the choir. We have because the choir is smaller, it's bigger than my chorales, as I said, but it's smaller than some of these great big honor choirs. We're able to give each of the children solo opportunities as they wish, public speaking opportunities. We do choreography as a part of our experience. And we're very much a faith-based choir. So we have Christ-centered philosophy. And of course, a lot of families are crying for that because it's missing from our public system in so many ways.
Right.
So, yeah.
So this isn't like, is Thrive like a private school, or is it like a private funded school, or is it just a part of?
So it's not a school. It's totally private.
Okay.
Thrive Education is the name of my business. I'll call it that. Underneath that banner, I run various different programs, and it is totally private. So I'm a registered sole proprietor. It's a business.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it is totally private from any other school connection. It's not a school per se. I call it personal enrichment programming for youth.
So the students actually attend other schools throughout the city, and this is like a after-school program?
Exactly. Now, choir happens on Saturday mornings. A lot of our other programming was after-school programming in the past, but some of our kids are from public school, some are from private school, some are homeschooled, and Thrive becomes their socialization, their enrichment, and yeah.
The one thing I found, even when I saw the choir, I could feel how the kids really connected with each other. And I only have a sense of that because I used to, do some children mentoring programs too, and coach basketball and some other things doing it when I was working with the school board years ago. And it was very rewarding for me to see things come together and see the children grow in a certain environment and a certain cohesiveness sort of like start to develop.
A family.
When we used to call when the kids started buying into a program, like I would have a philosophy, and it was nice to see the kids try to sort of like buy into that philosophy.
Totally.
And I felt that while listening to the kids.
Totally. And what you're seeing there is a number of things, I think. It's the rapport that I have with them as the director and that I nurture as a part of the culture of the choir. But it's also the standards. So if you look at Thrive as a philosophy, take the choir as one of the programs underneath the Thrive banner, which it is. The three sort of main strands of Thrive is the personalized loving attention, high expectations that inspire greatness. So raising that bar a lot higher than they're usually expected in many facets of their lives now, and magical outside the box experiences. And those three things definitely apply to the choir as well. And you're seeing that happening. You're also seeing the kids believing, because I expect a lot of them, and they range in age from grade 2 all the way up to grade 9. So I expect a lot of them, and they really, when I believe as an educator, I believe that when you combine high expectations with warmth and true, genuine, loving care of these kids and warmth with high expectations and standards, they're going to be inspired to want it themselves. So the cohesiveness is the family nature of the choir, but it's also, for example, we'll be singing. They know their material. They're very dedicated and they practice well. They've got their demos at home and they work. And if they hear something off, they want it fixed. I don't even have to say it anymore. And it's a beautiful thing because they do my job for me they'll say, no, that was right. That was flat. We were early. Like they're way beyond buying into it. They sometimes even, the parents have a joke that when they pretend to direct like me, they're doing the Wendy, right? Because they want it to be excellent and exceptional because, again, that was the expectation and they're way beyond buying into that.
Right. So how have you managed to get some of the exposure that you've gotten already?
If I'm to be totally honest about my heart's response to that, it would be 100% a spiritual blessing. It's of God because, and again, we're very much a faith-centered and Christ-promoting experience. So it's, I truly believe God is honoring that and giving us experiences and open doors very early on. It's like I've said to the kids, there's many choirs that have existed for a decade that would love to have these kinds of doors opening. So I praise God and I credit God for that. And on the practical human level, again, I believe God's the vessel, but on a practical human level, I mean, CIOE has been amazing to the choir, right? You and other folks at CIOE have promoted them, really, again, to use your expression, bought into what is happening and what we're doing with these kids and given us great opportunities. And I think there's others in the community as well who've seen the uniqueness, the sparkle, the difference.
I like that, the uniqueness of it. The other thing that I'm finding out in my own life, I think when you truly begin to follow your true passion in life, I think doors just automatically open for you.
And that, I think, is very much a spiritual principle, but it applies to everyone, no matter what walk of life they are, because that is it's almost like math, right? There's certain rules of math that apply. There's certain rules of life that apply. And I think, I think when you, well, like you said, when you follow your passion, when you know what it is, you have the confidence to go for it, and things do click, and you add the blessing of God on top of that, and it's been amazing.
Now, do you run the program on your own, or do you have support? Do you have parents that come in and support?
I have, well, a close friend. Well, the parents are a wonderful support, absolutely, and always have been, and some of them will sit in on parts of the practices, and they're great cheerleaders, and I love the relationships I have with our families and parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, the whole bit, family, friends. I have a close friend of mine, Paulette, who volunteers with the choir as well, so she's at all the practices, all the performances, and she, beautiful, beautiful soul, and really also builds that rapport with the kids and brings out the best in them and encourages them, and is very much a similar kindred spirit to mine, and so very much a similar heartbeat on every possible level, including the spiritual. So she's a wonderful support.
So before we take a break here, I'm just going to ask you a little about you, because I heard you sing that night as well.
You did an amazing job, and that was a great tune as well. Did you have formal musical training?
Thank you. That's a Lauren Talley song. For those who know Southern gospel music, that's a Talley Trio piece, or at least they know the Talley Trio. The daughter, Lauren, sings that piece as a solo. Thank you for that, Joe. I do not have any musical training, and I say that as a very neutral statement, not in judgment of those who do or don't. I grew up traveling all over the Maritimes. My parents had a Southern Gospel quartet called the Keynotes, and we traveled all over Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, and
were you a part of that, or just?
My nanny and my aunt took care of my sister and I when we were very tiny. From the time I was probably 7, 8, we would travel with the group, and we were gone 2 or 3 weekends a month. So I grew up very familiar with the musical setting and watching my mom be the MC, and just very comfortable in that environment. By the time I was 10 or 12, I was singing probably 3 or 4 songs with them each concert. And then when I was 16, my aunt, who was also part of the quartet at the time, she stepped back, retired from the group, and I joined full time at 16 until the quartet retired when I was, I want to say 19 or 20. I forget the exact year. Yeah. So it's experience and passion driven for sure. Yeah.
Okay, good enough. If you joined us late, you're listening to a special edition of the Soulful Shack. I'm your host, Joe Quammie, our special Christmas edition. We've been in conversation with Wendy Birt. She's the choir director of the Thrive Children's Choir. And we're going to step aside and take a break. When we return, we're going to give a listen to one of the tunes by the choir. 97.5 CIOE-FM. I'd like to welcome everybody back to this edition, a special edition of the Soulful Shack. I'm your host, Joe Quammie, coming to you from 97.5 CIOE-FM. And again, we're accompanied by Wendy Birt from the Thrive Children's Choir, who's with us for this portion of our evening show. And Wendy, perhaps you can tell us how people can catch up with you. I assume you're on Facebook. How can people follow you?
So our Facebook page, if they look up Thrive Children's Choir, that's actually the best presence right now. I'm in the midst of updating the website, and they can go to thriveeducation.ca for a bit more information about the choir. But there's more currently on our Facebook page. That's Thrive Children's Choir.
So I understand that you brought along some music, a song by the choir, a couple of tunes by the choir. So maybe you can set the first tune up for our listeners.
A song called A Christmas Wish is a piece that was special to me because when I was student teaching, when I was taking my education degree from Mount St. Vincent, I was teaching in a grade 4 class in Fall River, Holland Road Elementary, and the music teacher there, wonderful lady, Kirsten Boyce, wonderful choir director in her own right, she asked for my help with the alto group on the alto section of a song called A Christmas Wish that was written by, I don't even remember the author, and that's shame on me for that, but it was written locally. It's a locally owned and written song, and beautiful piece that our girls did at some of our bigger events, popular again, with it's a bit of a crossover song between secular and Christian, so it's more what I call inspirational, and we sang that at all of our events, I want to say, this season.
Okay, well, why don't we give a listen to A Christmas Wish? This is the Thrive Children's Choir, right here on 97.5 CIOE-FM. Was entitled A Christmas Wish. We just heard from the Thrive Children's Choir. We're with the Children's Choir Director, Wendy Birt. And what do you folks have coming up?
We have our winter season coming up. So we break for Christmas now, basically. We're pretty well done for the season. And we start up for winter January 11th. And I'm in the midst of planning our winter performance series at this point, and we've also got a couple things up our sleeve for spring. So we go January through June with a summer break and then start again for fall.
Okay, well, definitely keep in touch. Drop me a note, email, or whatever, and let me know when and where, and we'll certainly get that out.
Absolutely.
I've been speaking with the musical director of the Thrive Children's Choir, Wendy Birt, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time. Well, I know it's busy everywhere, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come in and spend some time with us. Thanks for bringing in the music. We'll certainly I got a little clip that I want to play at the end of tonight's program of the choir doing an amazing version of Amazing Grace that I think everybody will enjoy, and I'll get that out before the evening's out. But again, thank you for taking time to come in. All the best to you and the choir.
Thank you.
And hope to see you out there soon.
I'm sure you will. Thanks again for having me.